If O3 is even better, what will this mean? Biology will be accelerated even more than I had imagined. O3 was just announced a few days ago, and there are two words to describe how the industry has reacted to this: stunned and shocked. All right, so jokes aside, the reaction to O3 really has been incredible. Not everybody is convinced that we've broken through the wall that probably never existed, but those people are few and far between. So I've collected the reactions of luminaries throughout the AI industry and beyond, and we're gonna go over that right now. So first, Balaji. And Balaji is one of the smartest people on earth, former CTO of Coinbase, former general partner at Andreessen Horowitz, Stanford multi-degree holder, so just generally a very smart thinker. And what he's going to be talking about is frontier math. This was probably the most impressive benchmark that O3 achieved. The frontier math benchmark is challenging for Fields medalists. Those are the smartest of smart mathematicians. The state of the art stood at 2% just 2 months ago. So that was really the O1 model, or any other model was at 2%. That means 2% of the problems in the frontier math benchmark were solved. And now, absolutely shattered by O3 at over 25%. And I want to put that in perspective for you because I didn't truly appreciate how stunning of a result that was at first. So here's an example problem from the frontier math problem set. Now, I can't even read this, and yes, it not only looks difficult, it is difficult. These are math problems that the best mathematicians on earth would hope to just get a couple right. And O3 got 25% right, and in a pretty short amount of time. Balaji continues, it's important that O3 did well on ARC, which is easy for humans but hard for AI. And it's impressive that it ranks so highly on code forces. So it ranked 175 in the world out of everybody that competes on code forces, and that's a coding competition, the hardest of the hard coding competition. But 10xing the frontier math benchmark in 2 months is the most important. Frontier math problems typically demand hours or even days for specialist mathematicians to solve. The following Fields medalists shared their impressions after reviewing some of the research level problems in the benchmark. This is Terrence Tao, known worldwide as the best mathematician on earth. And here's his take on these problems. These are extremely challenging. I think that in the near term, basically the only way to solve them, short of having a real domain expert in the area, is by a combination of a semi-expert like a graduate student in a related field, maybe paired with some combination of a modern AI and lots of other algebra packages. Here's Gowers, another Fields medalist. The questions I looked at were all not really in my area and all looked like things I had no idea how to solve. They appeared to be at a different level of difficulty from IMO problems. Balaji continues, there may not be a single mathematician on the planet who can solve 25% of these types of problems at all, let alone at the speed of O3. And that's just O3. It's the worst it's ever going to be. And so that sets the stage for the rest of the reactions that I'm going to show you. Let's keep going. Now we're going to look at Ethan Mollick, one of the top minds in artificial intelligence. He's a professor at Wharton of AI. He gives a bunch of talks about AI, writes a lot of articles about AI, so very prominent in the AI industry. Here's what he has to say about O3. Basically, think of the O3 results as validating Douglas Adams as the science fiction author most right about AI. Douglas Adams is the author of A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and really predicted a lot of cool science fiction stuff in the future. And so he's saying O3 basically proves Douglas Adams predicted things correctly. And in the book, Douglas Adams writes about people creating a supercomputer to get the answer to the ultimate questions of the universe. What's the meaning of life? And the supercomputer takes 7.5 million years to calculate, and then at the end, sorry, spoiler alert, just says 42. That's the answer. But the point is that he predicted that supercomputers or superintelligence are going to need a lot of time to think about the hardest problems on Earth, and that is what we're seeing with O3. Very cool. Back to Ethan Mollick's tweet, when given longer to think, the AI can generate answers to very hard questions, but the cost is very high, and you have to make sure you ask the right question first. And I want to really touch on the cost, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, because to reach the levels that they reached, the cost and the number of tokens used was stunning. Next is the statement from Francois Chalais, who is the creator of the actual ARC benchmark. So let's see what he has to say. But before we do that, one thing the industry won't be shocked about is our sponsor, Vultr. Reap the benefits of the world's largest independent cloud provider when you bring your GPU workloads over to Vultr. They have the latest NVIDIA GPUs spanning 32 locations across 6 continents. Vultr delivers industry-leading price to performance and serious accessibility and reliability. Vultr's global, fully composable cloud infrastructure moves your applications closer to your users and frees you from vendor lock-in, allowing you to bring your own networking and database solutions. And if you need to scale beyond just a single cluster, Vultr's Kubernetes engine allows you to take full control over your deployment, offering up a 100% free control plane. So if you're tired of waiting for GPUs from other providers, make sure to use Vultr. You can deploy at any scale immediately, and they have H100s, L40s, and more available right now. And you can get a fraction of a card or fully dedicated bare metal systems, which gives you full control over your hardware and your throughput. They also have one-click installation of all the applications you might need for advanced machine learning workloads, allowing you to get up and running in minutes, not hours. So experience the Vultr difference. Don't get bogged down by severe wait times or limited locations. Try it free today with a $300 credit for your first 30 days when you visit getvultr.com/Berman. And make sure to use code BERMAN300 at checkout to get that credit. Thanks again to Vultr for sponsoring this video. Okay, now back to ARC Benchmark's founder, Francois Chalais. Let's see what he has to say. So first, he just talks about O3's announcement, and it represents a significant breakthrough in getting AI to adapt to novel tasks. It soars 75.7% on semi-private eval in low compute mode for $20 per task in compute, and 87 in high compute mode. Thousands of dollars per task, which is insane to think about, but it actually got more expensive than that. It's very expensive, but it's not just brute. These capabilities are new territory and they demand serious scientific attention. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are saying, well, of course, this is so expensive and they use so many tokens and so much energy. This is not sustainable. But just like any other technology, it will start expensive, and as we continue to invest in it, the unit economics will become more favorable. So keep that in mind. But he does go on to say, is this AGI? And he says, while the new model is very impressive and represents a big milestone, I don't believe this is AGI. So he doesn't. But he might actually be incentivized to say it's not AGI because that's literally what he's going to have to pay $1 million for. So if it reaches AGI, and that would be 85% under their rules, that's AGI. But to be fair, the model, O3, still failed things that would be extremely easy for a 5-year-old to solve. Although it can do frontier math at 25%, still fails very simple kind of basic logic and reasoning problems. So there's still a fair number of very easy ARC-AGI 1 tasks that O3 cannot solve, and we have early indications that ARC-AGI 2 will remain extremely challenging for O3. So it shows that it's still feasible to create unsaturated, interesting benchmarks that are easy for humans yet impossible for AI. So I do find that very, very interesting, and this is just one measure of AGI-ness, which is if it's easy for humans and difficult to impossible for AI, is it really AGI? That's the question. So does this mean that the ARC prize competition is beaten? No, it's not. The ARC prize competition targets the fully private set, a different, somewhat harder eval, and takes place on Kaggle, where your solutions must run within a fixed amount of compute, 10 cents per task. We are committed to keep running the competition until someone submits and open sources a solution that crosses the 85% threshold at 10 cents per task or less. Now, let me show you one of the ARC problems that O3 failed. And when you see it, you're going to say, wow, that is actually super easy. So we have 3 examples here. We have the first one where you have a bunch of red rectangles in the center or really anywhere in this grid. Then you have 4 blue single nodes along the outside. And so what it looks like is you connect those nodes and you kind of draw a line through it, and any of the red rectangles that get touched by that crosshash basically turn blue. The second example shows the same thing. So it took really like no time at all for me to figure this out, and I'm sure you as well. So take that cross section, just like we're seeing here, and then anything that it touches turns blue. And then in the final example, same thing exactly. So we only have these 2 go across, and that red rectangle gets turned blue. Over here, it would be this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one in the middle. Hopefully I didn't count that twice. So that's basically how it would work, and that's the answer, and it did fail. Here are some other problems that it failed as well, and these, again, look pretty simple to solve. Next, as part of the release, Stephen Heidel, who does fine-tuning at OpenAI, said it's beginning to look a lot like AGI. And so even people within OpenAI are calling it AGI. And some of you might be thinking, well, of course they're calling it that. They're trying to promote their own product. But at the same time, remember, as soon as they call it AGI, their deal with Microsoft breaks down. Next, we're going to move on to Emad, who is the former founder and CEO of Stability AI and also just a very big mind in the AI field. And so here's what he has to say. My take on O3, the global economy is cooked. We need a new economic and societal framework. Absolutely crazy statement. And as a quick aside, he left Stability AI to go work on open source initiatives. So that is really cool. Any work that can be done on the other side of a computer screen, AI will be able to do at a fraction of the price. It's not even about creativity and coming up with recipes like a chef or novel code like a distinguished engineer. AI will follow guides better, superior, cook. Next, I want to show you the reaction from the scientific community. This is Daria Unutmez, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, MD, professor, biomedical scientist, human immunologist at Jackson Lab Research, Aging and Cancer Immunotherapy. So here's what he has to say. Today, I'm sharing another insanely good O1 Pro scientific insight. So he's specifically talking about O1 Pro because that's what he has access to. This one is particularly special to me to a point of making me emotional. It's that profound. I asked O1 Pro to critically evaluate a review my students and I had written about a specific subset of immune cells called MAIT cells and the role in cancer. The result? I'm simply shocked beyond belief at O1 Pro's critiques. Okay, so now I can justifiably say the industry is shocked. They were more insightful than my own. And this is a topic where I'm one of the few top experts in the world, having made some of the key discoveries. As I read through its feedback, I found myself staring at my computer screen, fixated, overwhelmed by a mixture of emotions, disbelief, awe, joy, and a profound sense of humility. Every single point it made, every question it asked, everything was unbelievably insightful. The depth of its analysis is truly hard to comprehend. Even though we believed we had written a great review on the topic, which was accepted with only minor critiques, I was deeply humbled, thinking I should have addressed and included all these insights in the review. Ouch, the only solace is that it didn't find any errors. Now, seriously, how is this even possible? OpenAI, Sam Altman, Greg Brockman. If O3 is even better, what will this mean? Biology will be accelerated even more than I had imagined. Also, I did test O1 Gemini Advanced in comparison. They are also excellent models for sure, but do not come anywhere near this level of insight. O1 Pro is so special. And he goes on to actually print out the analysis of his paper. So if you want to check it out, I'll drop the link in the description below. Next, we're looking at a tweet from Riley Goodside. This graph went absolutely viral, and it's showing the ARC-AGI semi-private V1 scores over time, all the way back from 2019 to 2020, where GPT-3 was, all the way to GPT-4, just slight improvements percentage-wise, GPT-4o, a little bit better. Then all of a sudden, we see a massive exponential jump to O1, O1 High, O1 Pro, O3, and O3 in efficient mode. And so look at that graph. This is exponential increases if I've ever seen it. So anybody who thought there was a wall should be reconsidering their position now. Next, we're going to take a look at Didi's tweet, and he is a VC at Menlo Ventures. He was formerly at Glean, Google. He is a Cornell computer science major, and so very, very smart. 99.99% people cannot comprehend how insane frontier math is. This is the same take that Balaji took. The problems are crafted by math professors and not in any training data. Math legend Terry Tao said, these are extremely challenging. They will resist AIs for several years at least. OpenAI O3 did 25% on this. Just stunning. Next, we're going to take a look at Noam Brown, who is researching multi-agent reasoning at OpenAI, and obviously one of the leaders at OpenAI. So we announced OpenAI O1 just 3 months ago. Today, we announced O3. So 3 months difference between O1 and O3. And just remember O2 was skipped. So it's really O1 to O2. So he's just talking about the kind of compressed timeline that we're seeing these major step function advances in AI. Next, we have David Dohan from OpenAI again, and here is really an interesting bit of information, some new information. So O3 at 87.5% on ARC-AGI, we knew that. And here's the interesting bit. It thought for 16 hours to get a 3.5% increase in score per hour. So 16 hours of thinking. Absolutely crazy. And so if it thought for 16 hours, how many tokens did it use? And how much did that cost? I'm going to show you. So I was actually extremely surprised by hearing it thought for 16 hours. And I actually put out a tweet. Okay, O3 thought for 16 hours. Wow. And ex-user Russ Thompson said, that's why in their test over the $10K limit, cost them roughly $356,000 total because they let it run on each answer. So not sustainable for the long run, but still good to just know what that baseline is. And I asked, where did you get the 356K number from? Sean Ralston jumped in and said, ARC Prize report inference cost 172 times the $2,000 lower threshold, which is roughly $350,000. And the results required 5.7 billion tokens, which is just an insane thing to think about. So many tokens used. And actually, speaking of a drastically increased number of tokens being used, Jan LeCun actually predicted that when using chain of thought and the longer time models have to think, the results will actually get worse. And it turns out he was kind of wrong about that. And speaking of pessimistic takes of O3, let's look at Gary Marcus. Gary Marcus, known AI pessimist, says, 303 predictions. People will be initially amazed. Okay, so he was right about that. Once they dive in, they will see that it is not reliable. I don't know what he's basing that on, but that's what he's saying. It will work best in closed domains like math problems, but less reliably in open-ended domains like everyday reasoning about real world. Possibly, we got to get our hands on it to test it. And I think when you look at the ARC benchmark, that is open-ended reasoning. Those are very open-ended questions. And funny, this person, BB, replies with the goalpost moving. And Gary says, not one person who has made that accusation has ever documented one goalpost that I actually moved, not one. Not everybody's excited about O3. Next, we have Santiago, a prominent machine learning expert and computer scientist and just generally well-known in the AI field. He says, here's the 30-second summary of my take on O3. So put aside the hype, O3 doesn't seem to be AGI, but it represents a significant leap forward. It's a genuine breakthrough in adaptability and generalization. O3 is capable of adapting to tasks it has never encountered before. This generality is too expensive and it's not economically feasible today. Fair. O3 proves that we need a new architecture, not just scaling old models. Now, this proof he's talking about is test time compute. O3 still fails on some very easy tasks, yes. O3 should score in an upcoming benchmark under 30%, humans 95%. We don't know if these capabilities will extend to other domains. So he's impressed, but not fully there. So Ben Thompson, founder of Stratechery, says, O3 is a big deal, but it is downstream of the O1 revelation that inference time scaling matters. That is the most important thing we found out with O1. At inference time, basically when you prompt it, the longer you give it to think, the better the results. That was a huge revelation for the industry. Once the new paradigm was clear, this revelation was just a matter of time. So no, I'm not skipping my vacation. So he was impressed, but not as impressed as O1. Next, we're going to move on to Tomei, who is at Epoch AI Research, which researches the trajectory of AI in our lives. He's genuinely impressed by OpenAI's 25.2% pass at Frontier Math. Major leap from prior results, and arrives about a year ahead of my median expectations. Frontier Math is brutally difficult with problems that would stump many mathematicians. The easier problems are as hard as IMO Putnam. The hardest ones approach research level complexity. So Tier 1 and Tier 2 problems can take hours for experts to solve. Tier 3 problems are what Tao and Gowers call exceptionally hard, often requiring days of effort from top mathematicians. So again, it's really this frontier math that everybody's so excited about. Sam Altman also followed up afterwards, after the announcement, saying, seemingly somewhat lost in the noise of today on many coding tasks, O3 Mini will outperform O1 at a massive cost reduction. I expect this trend to continue, but also that the ability to get marginally more performance for exponentially more money will be really strange. And coming up towards the end, we have Dr. Jim Fan from NVIDIA. Here are his thoughts. AlphaGo was a super intelligence. It beats the world champion in Go well above 99.999 of regular players. Alpha Star was a super intelligence. It bests some of the greatest esport champion teams on StarCraft. Boston Dynamics E-Atlas was a super intelligence. It performs perfect backflips. Most human brains don't know how to send such sophisticated control signals to their limbs. And so similar statements can be made for AIM, SWE-bench, and Frontier Math. They are like Go, which requires exceptional domain expertise above 99.99% of average people. O3 is a super intelligence when operating in those domains. Yet O3's reward engineering could not cover all distribution of human cognition. This is why we are still cursed by Moravec's paradox. O3 can wow the field's medalists, but still fail to solve some 5-year-old puzzles like the one below, referencing the one we already looked at. So he says, huge milestone, clear roadmap, more to do. So that's going to be it for today. A lot of reactions from the industry, mostly just beyond impressed by O3's capabilities in frontier math, and I agree. I can't even read some of those math problems, let alone even pretend to try to solve them. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.